Alright, it's finally time for Magi, and it's 268 first. So this chapter of Magi, we have, obviously, like, the setup of the war. I haven't read the next chapter yet, but I will review it after I've read it. But 268 was all about the setup. Um, there was an interesting, one thing I want to mention is there was an interesting, panel with a young Hakue, a young Hakuryu, and then a Kome, which I thought was interesting, like, and he says, "I'm sorry, Hakue," meaning that there was obviously something between them. Maybe just a sister brother type of thing, or maybe more. I don't know, but maybe just a childhood friend type of thing. Um, but ultimately, they've set up, and we get to see like the numbers and the commanders, which I mean that's obvious since you read the chapter. I'm assuming you know pretty much know the basic setup. Um, and as we know, Hakuryu has decided to fight on the Kanan Plains, which is like the largest plains in the entire world apparently, and it's stated if you control the plains, you control pretty much the fight. They rule the world. So the fact that he's abandoned Rakusho and is going to the Kanan Plains means he's like, it looks like at least he's putting like all of his stock in this one fight. Um, and it still looks really bad for Hakuryu, but there's obviously like some kind of thing looming over that it's not going to be as simple as it looks. And Hakuryu basically gives a message to the rebel army, like basically tell them to surrender and bring the head of Ren Cohen, which they're not going to do, but um, whatever. And yeah, I mean, there was like that giant beast thing behind him. I don't know if we've seen that before, but it looks interesting. Kind of ugly though. Um, and I mean that's honestly it. They're underestimating Kogoku as well. She's like the second army commander or something. It's like a non-important post. But as we know, Kogoku is really fucking strong. So um, I wouldn't count her out of the fight. And we still don't know what Hakuei is gonna do. So I guess we'll have to find out. So the war's going to begin in the next chapter, as it's stated in the end of this chapter. So yeah, I mean this chapter rating overall, I wouldn't say I would say it was a good setup because there was a lot of information, I guess. So that's it, and then we'll get into 268 as soon as I've read it and reviewed it. All right, so let's talk about 269. This particular chapter was actually better than the previous one because I think the key here obviously being um, the fact that Kogoku and Koha are fighting. Obviously, the war has begun, and we did know before, but now we actually see like the effect of Belial and Zagan, uh, the effect that it had on um, Hakuryu's army. However, the numbers are still much greater on um, Kohen's side, and we really see like Koha and Kogoku are like basically like going right through the enemy because they're so fucking strong. But obviously Kogoku is not desensitized to war and especially a civil war of all things. So she is killing people and then she's seeing like these guys have family. I even know who they were, and it's hard to do. But she does realize by the end that she's the only one that can do this alongside Koha. Um, so, I mean, there's not much to talk about here because there's not a ton of material to talk about, but uh, I think those are the two main points. The fact that about Belial and Zagan's effects, and then Kogoku and her sort of development on the battlefield. Um, This Koha seems fine, but Kogyoku's she has a much kinder heart, despite how she appeared in Magi from the beginning, where she beat the crap out of Ugo. But ultimately, she does have a kind heart, and especially towards her own comrades. And even, I mean, Koha's not fine, but he's able to overcome it, which is something. But it seems like Kogyoku is starting to overcome it by the end of this chapter. It's kind of hard to tell. Um, I don't know the translation's that good, but um, it kind of ended on a weird note, unless there are missing pages at the end that I missed. Like it ends like where she's like he's the only one. Uh, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Um, but yeah, that's it. Um, this chapter was good, and I mean the two conjoined chapters I guess were fine. I'm just waiting for the next chapter because we do have another one that's not translated, but it's out in the raw. I did kind of glance over it just as soon as I finished 269, but yeah, I mean that's it. Um, hope you guys enjoyed it. And when the fuck is Sinbad no Boken coming out again? I want more of that shit. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.